find the equation of the line tangent to the graph when x equals 4. So first I'm going to find my point. So that would be g of 4 is 2 over square root of 4 cubed. Now a lot of people, because we're not allowed to use calculators, are going to try and do 4 cubed and then take the square root. That's much more difficult to do in my head, because I don't know what, actually, I think I could do that, but it's going to get nastier in a second, and I can't do that in your head. So it doesn't matter the order in which I apply these powers. I did square root first. Square root of 4 is just 2, and then 2 cubed is 8. So this is just 2 over 8, or 1/4. So then that is my point, right? So y minus 1/4 equals, waiting for my slope, x minus 4. Now I need to find my slope. So this is going to be derivative g prime. First I'm going to rewrite this. This is just 2x to the negative, because it was on the bottom, and then 3, and then the root would be 3/2 power. So this is the new rewritten. Now I take derivative, so I'm going to have 2 times negative 3/2. Take away 1, that's negative 5/2. This crosses off, this is just 3 over, because negative in your exponent means go on the bottom, x to the 5th square root. And now I need to find what g prime of 4 is. So that's 3 over square root of 4 to the 5th. Square root of 4. This one, not easy to do in your head. I do not know what 4 to the 5th is and then what the square root of that is, but I can do square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. That's 2 to the 5th. 2 to the 5th is 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. So this is 3 over, oh, I dropped my negative right here. Negative, negative, negative 32. So that is my slope. So negative 3 over 32. Number 2, which of the following is the line equation of the line tangent? So first plug in x equals 1. That's 2 minus 2 plus 3, which is just 3. So I have y minus 1 equals, need to find my slope, x minus 1. Now I find my slope by taking derivative. That's 4x minus 2. Plug in at 1. That's 4 minus 2, which is 2. Now, obviously, none of my answer choices look like this, so I'm just going to distribute. So this is going to be 2x minus 2. And I'm going to add this 1 over like that. So 2x negative 2 plus 1 is minus 1. C. Here, finding derivative, this is going to be product rule. U is x, u prime, derivative of x is just 1. V is natural log of x. V prime, derivative of natural log is 1 over x. So then u prime v plus u v prime. U prime is 1. V is natural log of x. Plus u is x. V prime is 1 over x. 1 times natural log of x, that's just natural log of x. X over x times 1 over x is the same as x over x. X over x divides out, and you're just left with a factor of 1, so plus 1. So natural log of x plus 1. Here I have definitely product rule, and within the product rule, this is going to be chain rule. So I'm going to define my u as the x plus 1, or x plus 2. U prime is just 1. V is the x to the 5th plus 7 cubed, and v prime, do derivative of the outside first, that would be 3 now squared. Leave the inside alone. Then multiply by derivative of the inside. Derivative of x to the 5th is 5x to the 4th. So I'm going to rewrite this as 15x to the 4th, x to the 5th plus 7 squared, because the 3 and the 5x to the 4th can just become 15. Now I use my product rule, u prime v plus u v prime. U prime is 1, v is x to the 5th plus 7 cubed, plus u is x plus 2. V prime is the 15x to the 4th, x to the 5th plus 7 squared. So here, I have actually found the derivative. Obviously, this does not look the same as my answer choices, so I need to have my answer choice, or my answer in factored form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out a common factor. They both have the x to the 5th plus 7 term. I have a power of 3 here, I have a power of 2 here. So the common factor that they both have is the power of 2. If I pull out power of 2, this was cubed, so I'll still be left with one of those. If I pull out this, I'm left with x plus 2 times plus x plus 2 times 15x to the 4th. Now that is still not an answer choice, so I need to clean this up. Can't clean this up, but I can distribute right here. That would become 15x to the 5th plus 2 times this is 30x to the 4th, x to the 5th plus 7. These two are combining because they are like terms, so that's 16x to the 5th plus 30x to the 4th plus 7. And then of course I still have this out front. So the answer that has that is C. X to the 5th plus 7 squared times 16x to the 5th plus 30x to the 4th plus 7. Here we're checking for differentiability and continuity. Continuity I just plug in. This is 6 plus 2, which is 8. This is 4 plus 3, which is 7. So it is not continuous. And because it is not continuous, it cannot be differentiable. It doesn't work. Here, I want to know what points have the property that the line tangent to F has a slope of -5 halves. So I'm saying, where does my slope equal this? Slope meaning derivative. So this, I want to set my derivative equal to the -5 halves and see where that is true. So first I have to find my slope. This is going to be quotient rule. So low d high minus high d low. Underneath the low squared goes. So that just becomes, distribute the 2, that's 2x minus 10 minus 2x. So then you're left with -10 over x minus 5 squared. So this is my f prime. I'm asking what points is the slope, is the f prime equal to -5 halves. So I'm going to take my derivative, I'm going to set it equal to the -5 halves. Again, because I'm looking for what x value does the derivative equal this. So I set the derivative equal to that. To solve this, I just cross multiply. So 2 times -10 is -20. And then -5x minus 5 squared. I'm just trying to solve for x, so I'm going to get rid of this coefficient, divide it over. Divide -5 over, you get +4 is x minus 5 squared. Now I need to get rid of the square, so I would take the square root. Square root of 4 is both +2 and -2. So then when I solve for 5, I get x equals 7 and x equals 3. These are the two x values that the derivative is equal to -5 halves, meaning the slope is equal to 5 halves, which is what I asked for. What points have the property that the slope is this? I haven't actually finished it because I'm looking for the points, so that would be 3, 7, If I plug in 3, that's 6 over 3 minus 5 is -2, so that's -3. And if I plug in 7, that's 14. 7 minus 5 is 2, so then 7. So those are your 2 points. A lot of work for that one question. Here I'm asking for f double prime, so first find f prime. 2 is just a coefficient, keep it there. This I'm going to use chain rule because I have an outside and an inside function. Take derivative of the outside, derivative of sine is cosine, leave the inside alone. Then multiply by derivative of the inside, 5. So I'm going to rewrite this. This is 10 cosine of 5x. Now I need to take the derivative again. 10 is my coefficient now, so keep that. Derivative of cosine is negative sine. Leave the inside alone. And then I need to finish it off by multiplying by derivative of the inside. So this would be negative 50 sine of 5x is my second derivative. Here we've got definitely product rule. I'm just asking for the slope of the tangent line, so that would be just y prime of 2, and I want the whole equation. So u is x, u prime meaning 1. V is the 3x plus 5 to the 1/2. I'm going to use chain rule here, so v prime would be 1/2. Now it's the power of -1/2 when I subtract 1. Leave the inside alone, and then multiply by derivative of the inside, which is 3. So this is just 3/2 square root of 3x plus 5. And I put it on the bottom because this was a negative power. So now I need to do u prime v plus u v prime. U prime is 1, v is the 3x plus 5 to the 1/2, plus u is x. V prime is the 3/2 square root of 3x plus 5. Now I'm going to evaluate it at x equals 2. 3 times 2 plus 5 is 6 plus 5 is 11. So this is square root of 11 plus x equals 2. So that would be 2 times 3 over 2 square root of 11. This cancels out, so it's 11 plus 3 over root 11. Here I want to find derivative at x equals 1. So first I'm going to rewrite this. So p is just negative r cubed. Dividing by 2 is the same as 1/2 r squared minus 2 r to the negative 1 plus pi. Now I'm ready to take derivative. This would become negative 3r squared. Bring the 2 down, that's just positive 1 now, so plus r now to the 1 power. Bring the negative down, that's plus 2, r to the negative 2. Pi is just a number, so derivative of pi is just 0, it goes away. I'm going to rewrite this real quick. Plus 2 over r squared. Plug in r equals 1, so p prime of 1 would be negative 3 plus 1 plus 2 over 1. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Alright, 10, here it says that h and f are inverse functions. So if I want h prime of negative 4, not anything with h prime here, but I know that h is just f inverse, so this is the same as saying f inverse prime of negative 4. I know how to find the derivative of an inverse. That's just going to be 1 over f prime of f inverse of negative 4. First thing I need to find is f inverse of negative 4. F inverse of negative 4 is the same as saying f of what gives me negative 4. So f of 1 gives me negative 4. So f inverse of negative 4 is just 1. Now I can replace that. This right here is just 1. 1 over f prime of 1. F prime of 1 is 4, so this is just 1 over 4, and that is your answer. Equation of the tangent line, so this right here is my slope, this is my point, so y minus 3 equals negative 1, x minus 2. Use the tangent line to approximate f of 3. That means plug in 3 for the x value into my tangent line, so that's negative 1, 3 minus 2 equals y minus 3. 3 minus 2 is 1, times negative 1 is negative 1. Add the 3 over to get y by itself, then your answer is, it approximately would be 2. Here, I'm going to rewrite this. So this is cosine of 4x, all to the 5th power. So we're definitely using chain rule here. This is a case where I have 3 chains. Outside would be to the 5th power, inside would be cosine, and another inside would be the 4x. So derivative of the outside would be bring the 4 down. Now this is to the 4th power. Leave the inside alone. Then multiply by derivative of the inside. Derivative of cosine of 4x is negative sine of 4x. And I'm still not done because I have one more inside to go. Derivative of this inside is 4. So then we get negative 4 times 5 is 20. Cosine to the 4th power times sine. And that's your answer. Here we're going to use product rule. U is e to the x, u prime is e to the x, v is cosine, v prime is negative sine. So I've got u prime v plus u v prime, e to the x cosine x plus e to the x negative sine x. These have a common factor of e to the x, so I can pull out e to the x and I'm left with cosine minus sine. And that would be your simplified answer. Here we're going to use quotient rule, so low d high minus high d low underneath the low squared goes. So I need to know what g of 6 is, g prime of 6, f of 6, and f prime of 6 is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. G of 6 is 2, f of 6 is 4. G prime, this is definitely a negative slope. I'm going down 2 and over 1, so that's the slope of negative 2. Rise 2 over run 1. F prime is definitely negative, but now I'm going down 1 and over 2. Rise of 1 over run of 2 is negative 1 over 2. Now we plug in, that's 2 times negative 1/2 minus 4 times negative 2 over 2 squared. This is just negative 1. This becomes plus 8 over 4. 8 minus 1 is 7, so then 7/4. Next one, we're going to use product rule. So this would be f prime g plus f g prime. Now I'm looking at x equals 1. So for both of these, h of 1, or f of 1. F of 1 is 3 and g of 1 is 3. F prime of 1 and g prime of 1, we're calculating our slope. This is f is a positive slope. I'm going up 2 and over 1. Rise of 2 over run of 1 is 2. Slope here is going down 1 over 1, so that's the slope of negative 1. And now we plug in 2 times 3 plus 3 times negative 1. That's 6 minus 3 is 3. This is definitely product rule, so u and v, u prime v plus u v prime. Derivative of tangent is secant squared, v is just g of x, plus u is just tangent. V prime would just be g prime of x, so that's your answer. Okay. Here we're trying to find derivative. This is definitely chain rule. So outside function would be the cube, so 3 now to the squared power, leave the inside alone. And then multiply by derivative of the inside. Derivative of the inside, derivative of sine is cosine. Derivative of minus x squared would be minus 2x. Derivative of minus e to the x would be minus e to the x. And can't really do much from there. So this is the simplified factored form. Here we're looking for quotient rule. So low d high would be minus 2, minus high d low. Underneath the low squared goes, so low squared goes, stays the same. I'm going to distribute this negative 2, so that's negative 6x minus 10, and distribute this 3 and the negative, so this will become minus 15, and then plus 6x. Negative 6x plus 6x goes away, negative 10 minus 15 is negative 25, so then there's our answer. This is our g prime. Write the equation of the line tangent to f at x equals 2. Now, normally I would be like, oh, point and slope, but I want the line tangent to f. This is for g. So first of all, if I want to find f of 2, that's g of 2 over 2. G of 2 is 6, over 2 is 3, so then this is my point. So y minus 3 equals slope x minus 2. Now I need to find my slope. Slope of f, so derivative of f, this would be quotient rule, low d high minus high, d low is just 1, underneath the low squared goes. Now I can plug in 2, so this is 2, g prime of 2 is negative 5, minus g of 2 is 6 times 1 over 2 squared. So that's negative 10 minus 6 over 4, that's negative 16 over 4, which is negative 4, so that is my slope. So the trick here is that I gave you g and g prime. I wanted the tangent line at f, so I had to do like plug into the f equation. I had to use quotient rule to get the derivative, and I still use these values. They just weren't my answer because they were just part of the function. G was only part of the function of f. All right, here I've got a function. The g is the inverse of f. G of 3 is 1. What is g prime of 3? So I know that g is just f inverse. This is the same as f inverse prime of 3, which is going to be 1 over f prime of f inverse of 3. First I need to find f inverse of 3. G of 3 is 1, which means f inverse of 3 equals 1 because g is f inverse, so it gave it to me. So this is just 1. Now I need to do f prime of 1. So here's my f. F prime would be 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. F prime of 1 would be 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 6. So this is 1 over 6, so C is your answer. I want to know where is the function continuous but not differentiable. So not differentiable, you should be checking for sharp turns or vertical tangent lines, because here, right, your slope on either side is not equal, or if it's vertical, your slope is undefined. So I see here, here. This is definitely not differentiable, but it's also not continuous, so that's not what I'm asking. And it doesn't show what's happening here. So these are my 2, so at x equals negative 2 and 0, because we're looking at the x values that happens at. Average rate of change on an interval is just subtracting the f values and subtracting the x values. So now I need to plug in. 0 is just 2, that's easy. And f of 3, 3 to the 4th minus x, 8. 3 squared is 9 plus 2. 8 times 9 is 72 plus 2, so that's just negative 70. 3 to the 4th, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. 2 3s is 9, 2 3s is 9, 9 times 9 is 81. 81 minus 70 is 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. Over 3 is 3. There's my average rate of change. Instantaneous when x equals 2, that's derivative. So that would be 4x cubed minus 16x. And then plug in x equals